Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the F1 Fan Zone. We're going to talk about a bit of news that's come in regarding changes potentially to DRS for 2023. Join me. So it's been claimed on Autosport by the head of the single seater for the FIA that they are looking at making some minor changes to DRS for 2023. Now, at the end of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, you might recall Martin Brundle, Sky Sports F1 commentator, actually said that he believed that the DRS made it too easy in certain cases, in certain tracks, and certain races for overtaking. And so, as a result, the FIA are looking at ways in which they can use the DRS system in order to create. Obviously, you want to get that balance between overtaking, but it's without it being so easy that cars just shoot on by, and the defending car just simply has no chance whatsoever. Now, for those who are not entirely sure what DRS is what's called the drag reduction system. And what the drag reduction system does, it allows cars to get a little bit of a boost in straight line speed. And what it does, as you can imagine, when a car's flying down a main straight, a big straight at 200 plus miles an hour, the rear wing is shaped and air hits the wing and bounces off. Now, the whole point of the drag reduction system, it allows a little gap, like a letterbox, that the air filters through, just goes through. Now, that way, it reduces drag, hence the name, the drag reduction system. Now, in a lot of in every race, there are certain what we call DRS zones, and some races have one zone, some races have three, and it really depends on each track. And not only does it depend how many does each track have different or different numbers of DRS zones, but they also range from how long they are, for example, to how short they are, and also where the activation line is. Now, the whole idea with the DRS system and its intended purposes was that if a car that was behind but was struggling to overtake was within a second of the car in front that it wants to overtake at an activation line, then that would give the driver in the car that's chasing or doing the chasing an opportunity to open its rear wing, allow that drag reduction system in the air to filter through the rear wing and give them a little bit of speed so they can get alongside. Now, the intention at the time of the DRS being brought into F1 was to allow cars to get more level, so that a car from behind that's struggling to overtake would get level and would see some wheel-to-wheel racing by the end of that straight. However, what has become almost really accepted, is that some races, some drag reduction system zones, DRS zones, were too powerful. They gave the driver behind, they wouldn't just get alongside, which was intended purposes, but also half a mile down the road, and the defending driver has simply no chance whatsoever to stop them. Now, the head of the FIA single seater, Nicholas Tumbazes, said this. He said, and he explained to Autosport, in some races, we may need to actually reduce DRS zones. We don't want overtaking to be, as we say, inevitable or actually easy. It still has to be a fight. If it happens too quickly, if you just see a car approaching and then going by and disappearing, it's actually worse than being at the back and fighting. It needs to be the right balance to be found here. So, as we've seen, that there's confirmation at least that they are at least looking at ways in which they can change the DRS system, or at least edit the DRS system to a more to a level that allows good, solid racing, but without it being too easy to overtake. So we know at some races, down a DRS zone, you're looking and think, well, once DRS, that's it, they'll be gone, and it's not even a fight, is it? It's not even a battle. Some ways. So I do understand why these changes need to be made, but at the same time, I also think they also need to make changes from the other perspective, because there are some places where it just doesn't work at all, or it doesn't work enough, or you get long DRS trains. And perhaps also, in my opinion, they need to have a look at these sorts of systems as well to see if they can change or to allow better overtaking from that respect. How many races did we see last season where you had just a train of 5, 6, 7, 8 cars? One got DRS, so the next one got DRS, so the next one got DRS, and all of a sudden DRS doesn't work. You don't have an advantage, a speed advantage from the drive you're trying to catch if they've also got DRS and they're getting DRS from the team for a driver who's also got DRS and so on. So perhaps they can. Perhaps it could be. Look, if you're within a second of a car in front of you, you get DRS. Unless, let's say, for now, this is top of my head speaking here. Unless the car behind you is within a second. So if you're within a second of the car in front, but the car behind you is also within a second, they'll get you won't get DRS. As an example, just as an example. So I have to see what the FIA come up with. I do think, you know, that yes, I get the point of yes, some DRS zones are too easy, but I think it's more important to focus on the areas where DRS doesn't work enough, or it's just not powerful enough, or it just doesn't do its intended job the other way as well. Let me know what you think now in the comment section, and I'll see you all on the next one. Take care.